Attack on Titan was overall perfect. Here's why. We can clearly see this conflict going on in Eren's mind throughout the series. If he achieves his individual goal of freedom, he'll cause misery for others. But if he tries to be like everyone else, he won't have a sense of purpose or goal. This is also seen with other characters throughout the entire show. Also, a lot of the time, both the individual and collective issues are highly intertwined with one another in one problem, like how Eren wants freedom not only for himself but also the entire Paradise Island at the cost of everybody else. Because of these conflicting thoughts, in the end, Eren goes insane and kills 80% of the outside population and goes on a massive rampage and destruction, all for himself and his friends, even though his friends themselves are against it. Whether we should fight for our own goal or for the collective good still remains an unresolved problem. Another thing which Eren and others are conflicted about is where to think of the big picture and consequences of all of their actions, or where to just defeat the other side and win. Again, Eren himself is the most conflicted out of all, whether he should focus only on achieving freedom at any cost or whether he should focus on the consequences of his actions as well. Even if he does achieve freedom, what would happen after that? What's the next course of action? All these questions conflict with one another. It's another factor leading to Eren's insanity and irrational and meaningless actions. Another big question that humanity is yet to answer fully. Although most of us have indeed agreed on peace, there are still a lot of wars going on. Take Russia versus Ukraine and Israel versus Hamas, for example. If that's not enough, we have the Cold Wars between US and China or other countries and smaller wars among big business companies and people and even internal wars among ourselves. So war is still a characteristic of this world and of humanity. But what's the right way to solve problems, war or peace? Again, we are in a perpetual state of conflict with this, just like the characters from Attack on Titan. Even the real life leaders and common people are in conflict with this. While people like Jesus and Mahatma Gandhi have advocated for peace, others like Napoleon and Machiavelli have focused on the opposite, at least if it's necessary at the moment. In Attack on Titan, Eren truly wants peace and the ability to freely do whatever he wants, but he still goes on a war to attain that peace. Even after Eren's death, wars have never stopped entirely, even when the population that's not dead yet wants to live peacefully. Another question is whether we should do things such as achieving our goals alone or with other people as well. What's the right time to be alone? What's the right time to mingle with others and take their help? Almost all Attack on Titan characters are plagued with this question as they try to solve the problems in this torturous world. Almost every character in Attack on Titan has suffered from this, and we have too. By split personality, I do not mean it in a literal sense, the mental illness thing, but the regular contradictions in our own feelings and thoughts. Sometimes we feel like it's better to be serious, but during other times we think, why not joke around instead? Sometimes we believe in a more rigid and deterministic approach, but during others we feel that flexibility is better. Sometimes we feel like capitalism is better, but then we think that maybe socialism is better. We often have these contradictions, which do confuse us a lot of the time and create a temporary split personality within us, like how Attack on Titan characters are conflicted whether to attack Eren or not, whether to go for genocide or world peace, whether they need violence or not. Almost all the characters in this show have these conflicting thoughts. The biggest example of this is, of course, Eren, who turns insane due to these conflicting thoughts within him. Attack on Titan really places a lot of importance on this aspect, especially Eren's personal values throughout the series. The show sheds light on how our value systems influence and shape us, as well as how they are at the core of everything that we do. It also shows us how we can either give it up for something that we need to do, or how we can give up everything else for it, which is why it's important to keep updating our core values and, adjusting them to the systems. No matter how you like to see it, war has a lot more negative consequences than positive ones. It destroys people, relationships, peace, buildings, lands, nations, economies. There are a lot of things which it destroys. So it's obvious that peace and cooperation are much better than war. But again, war is still a constant element of this world because humans are flawed. The traditional wars have never ended, although they have been reduced to a significant extent. But we are now having more sophisticated and indirect wars which indeed have real consequences. For example, wars between companies and businesses, which can lead to worse products for the consumers, and wars between people online can affect each other's psyche and perceptions about the group or religion or ethnicity or anything like that. And Attack on Titan shows the consequences of wars, both direct and indirect, physical and mental, very vividly. I'd like to borrow a few words from the YouTuber Gigak and say that Attack on Titan does indeed show the gravity of the statistic of thousands of people dying very well and makes us understand what it actually feels like. Another important question is regarding how much freedom we should have and how much control we should have. Yet again, a conflict that keeps on going in Aaron's mind the most, and he even uses control to attain freedom, which is paradoxical. The questions also felt among a lot of other characters as well. If you read this book called How Fascism Works by Jason Stanley, then you know exactly how it's employed in Attack on Titan. There are 10 steps in every fascist regime that's carried out. Number 1, the mythic past. Number 2, propaganda. Number 3, anti-intellectual. Number 4, unreality. Number 5, hierarchy. Number 6, victimhood. Number 7, law and order. Number 8, sexual anxiety. Number 9, Sodom and Gomorrah. And number 10, Arbe Mark all these steps are continuously employed by the leaders on both sides, Eldia and Marley, and they're more prevalent than among the Jaegerists, who take their idealism to a whole new level. Needless to say, it's still prevalent in modern era politics and ideologies, and even on the internet among influencers and celebrities, and I believe that it's wonderfully shown through the Jaegerists and other fascist regimes in Attack on Titan. No matter how much suffering we go through, we human beings still find a way to enjoy the little things, especially when we are suffering, to be honest. We tend to observe those things more, which we usually take for granted. And Attack on Titan does a wonderful job at showing this as well, especially in episode 12 of season 4, second part, in which the gang goes to an outside nation for the first time and gets amazed by looking at all those things which they didn't get to see earlier. They even have fun with the locals and get drunk and stuff, which Levi both hates and likes because he'll get to clean up afterwards. Yeah, there's an internal paradoxical conflict within Levi too. Not only that, but even in the other episodes throughout the series, like in some scenes of season 1 to season 3 and the camp scene in season 4 part 2, characters actually enjoy those little things, as if they've almost forgotten that they still have to fight tomorrow. It's definitely refreshing to watch the scenes after watching another bloody battle for the 420th time. And the ending is just perfect. It views all these themes together in one beautiful show and provides a proper sense of closure. First of all the remaining characters unite to end Eren and his destruction once and for all and sacrifice themselves with utmost altruism in order to bring an end to him. Then, of course, we have those scenes related to Armin and Eren, which was beautiful. And then Mikasa slices off Eren's head and kisses it, and both Armin and Mikasa mourn the death of their friend. After that, although there still isn't complete peace in the end, it's still illustrated beautifully and subtly. And even the scene in which Mikasa talks to Eren's head was pretty good. The ending really shows the beauty of imperfection, because that's what it seems like. It's really subtle and conveys its message perfectly, how the characters are making use of all that's left, how the world still continues in a rather flawed manner, the same as usual, and how Mikasa still truly loves Eren despite all that has happened. I'm honestly glad that the show didn't have any alternative endings, and this one really makes the most sense in a realistic sense. Okay, so here are 10 life lessons from Attack on Titan. Number one, peace is greater than war no matter what. Number two, enjoy the little things while they last. Number three, always understand others and view them from the point of view of an impartial spectator. Number four, humans will always find a way to mess things up, but it's our duty to go against such humans. Number five, always try to find a balance between your paradoxes. Number six, introspect deeply before you do anything. Number seven, help others when they need it. Number eight, regardless of your suffering, always do your duty and be dedicated to it. Number nine, understand your core values and stand by them. And lastly, number 10, never try to go too extreme in any direction. So, yep, my final thoughts on Attack on Titan are that it's perfect and it's wonderful and it's going to remain a legacy for years to come. And I believe that it's not only an excellent anime, but also an important piece of fiction for this generation, as well as the upcoming generation, and of course, an important document for present as well as future generations so that humans can truly live peacefully and prosperously without having to worry about any war or conflicts, or at least get close to that idealistic utopian level. Also, the show was perfect from the start to the end. Thank you, Vitsurio, Mappa, and Hajime Isayama. Of course, thank you, Attack on Titan. Thank you for watching this video.